All right. Hi, guys. So today is December 2nd, the day number 2 of December. Yesterday, if you remember, we had day 1 of December, and we talked about our story with Adam and Eve when God made the world and God made people, including Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve made a bad choice. Do you remember what that bad choice was? Yeah, God told them you could eat from any tree in the garden, but not this tree. And what did Adam and Eve do? They ate from the tree. And so what happened? Adam and Eve had to leave the garden, and they had to be far away from God instead of being close to God like God wanted. So today is day number 2 of December. Let's find out what picture is on our day number 2 block. Are you ready? Day number 2, we have a picture of a rainbow. Anyone know a Bible story that has a rainbow? Or maybe some rain? Let's find out. I'm moving my light of the world block. I'm moving my light of the world block onto day number 2, where we're going to talk about a story with a rainbow. God starts over the story of Noah from Genesis 6-8. After Adam and Eve left the garden, time passed and many people filled the earth. But the earth they lived on wasn't like the garden God had made for Adam and Eve. Do you remember what that garden was called? Eden. And the earth was not like Eden anymore. So it was a tough earth with death and sadness and tears. And the people were tough too. They didn't care for each other very well. In fact, they were downright mean. And they didn't care about God either. But God was still there, watching and waiting. God was ready to make the wrong things right and the dark things light. He started with a man named Noah. Unlike anyone else in those days, God was with Noah. So when God had something to say, Noah listened. Noah, God said, it breaks my heart to see how mean and hateful everyone is to each other. With all this hate, I can't come to be with my people. So I'm sending a storm to wash away all the hate. I'm going to start over. It's not going to be easy, but if you listen to what I say, I will be with you and you will be okay. This was the plan. God told Noah to build a really big boat. Except he didn't call it a boat. He called it a ark. Have you guys heard that before? Noah built an ark. Noah didn't know anything about building boats, which could have been a big problem. But luckily, God told him exactly what he needed to do, and Noah trusted God. The opposite of what happened with Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve chose to listen to what they thought was a good choice instead of listening to what God said was a good choice. Noah trusted God. He said, okay, God, I trust that that's a good choice. God told Noah to put his family on the ark. Then God sent Noah all of the animals too. What's your favorite animal? Caleb likes cheetahs the best. And you know what? Your favorite animal and Caleb's favorite animal and all of the animals in the whole world, those animals were all on the ark. Does anyone know how many animals? How many of each animal? I gave you a hint. I showed you with my fingers, 2. 2 of each animal, a boy and a girl of every animal were on this boat. It must have been super crowded and maybe a little stinky too with all those animals. But it's what God told Noah to do, and he listened. After Noah got all of the animals and all of his family on the ark, he waited and waited and waited. And he began to wonder if maybe he heard God wrong. The sun was shining, and all of Noah's neighbors were off doing their jobs just like usual. But then, one day, the sky got dark, and God shut the big door to the ark, and he opened the big windows of heaven. Rain came pouring down like no one had ever seen. It came up out of the ground, too. In a flash, water was everywhere, and there was no time for anyone else to build an ark or a boat or even a little raft. The whole world was flooded. Noah and his family were on their ark, scared and lonely. They waited and waited and waited. But even though they felt lonely, Noah and his family weren't alone. Who was with them? God was with them. For 40 long days and 40 long nights, God kept the ark floating safely on the water, just as safely as if the ark was in God's own hands. You can kind of think of God holding the boat in his hands and keeping them all safe. Isn't that cool? Noah almost lost track of the days. But then one day the sun came back. And some days later, Noah sent out a dove, and it came back with a leaf. A leaf. Do you know what that means? Leaves grow on branches, and branches grow on trees. And do trees grow out of the water, or do they grow on land? They grow on land in the solid ground, not on the water. So that means the floodwaters were going away. And soon enough, God guided Noah's ark to a little patch of land on top of a mountain. He opened the door back up, and Noah's whole family came out kissing the ground because they were so happy to see it again. God was faithful to Noah even when it was hard, even when it rained for 40 days straight, even when he waited and waited and waited. God was with Noah. God had started over just like he promised, and Noah thanked God for rescuing him and his family. But he also knew this new beginning wouldn't be enough. Why? Because Noah wasn't perfect, just like Adam and Eve weren't perfect, and just like all of us aren't perfect. Noah wasn't perfect, and the new beginning would go bad again soon. God had cleaned the earth of sin, but that sin was still in Noah's heart. So that's what's going to bring us to our next little poem to take us into day 3 of December for tomorrow. It says, even after the flood, God seemed far away. So Noah and his family began to hope and pray. God, will you come back to stay? We'll find out. I wonder if God will come back to stay. We've got our rainbow. What happens after it rains? Yeah, you see rainbows in the sky, don't you? And God, it doesn't say in this story, but God put a rainbow in the sky to Noah as a promise that he would never flood the earth like he did in this story again. I don't know why they didn't say that part. But there's our beautiful rainbow. Here's our beautiful rainbow block. Okay, and then we will learn more tomorrow leading up to day number 3 of December. I look forward to seeing you all then. Bye-bye.